Let's get started. For those new to the session, I want to make sure what you are that you completely understand what we're identifying and attempting to identify in these sessions. It is first and foremost to identify where banks and institutions are buying and selling in the currency markets. Okay. Now, quick little story for those that are new. I started my career on the institutional side of the business at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the currencies. In fact, the first probably 2-3 years of trading for me, I only traded the Japanese yen. I traded nothing else. So on the trading floor, what I dealt with were enormous buy and sell orders from banks and institutions in the currency market. Okay. What I've done is figured out what the picture of that institutional demand and institutional supply looks like on a price chart. That's what we focus on identifying here during these FX Street sessions and at Online Trading Academy. Okay, so hopefully everybody understands that. And I don't want to take too much time on that because I want to dive in and actually do it with you here. Now, but one other thing. So make sure you understand when we're talking about supply and demand, make sure you understand I'm not talking about the conventional terms support and resistance. Okay, I'm not leaning on anything in the trading books. The only thing I'm referencing to identify supply and demand on a chart is the picture that represents where the biggest banks and biggest institutions are buying and selling. And anyway, let's dive in. Take a look at the charts. Let's do a quick 30-second review from last session. Remember last session we were talking about this demand level that we've had on the daily chart of the dollar. We said it's very likely that prices will bounce higher from here, but we said be careful with this level because it's not the first time prices are into this level. As expected, we went a little bit deeper and now we've rallied out of here. Okay. At the same time, the euro has now declined significantly from our supply level. So okay. So anyway, our bigger picture plan is playing out as we expected, and now that prices are falling away from the supply, we need to examine, where's the euro likely to go from here, and where are the opportunities. So we know we've got some supply above, and the market turn there. I want to take a quick look at a shorter time frame at the dollar and share that with you here because there's key information there. There's a couple new. Well, let me blow this chart up. And the only reason we're looking at the dollar right now is to get a good idea of where the euro is going. So let me pull that up and I'll capture the chart for you. Here we go. There it is. All right, now this black line, just ignore it. This is the line from the daily chart, okay? But if you look at current price of the US dollar, 79.73, we've got this pivot high over here to the left, and then just below, we've got this level, this new level sitting right in here. Okay? So the presence of this new demand level tells us that there's a good chance that the dollar can trade higher from this level, but once it declines to there. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to decline to there in the next few minutes or what have you, but the fact that there's a level below, what does this trigger me to do? This triggers me to go to the euro and find some supply above. Okay, because from this demand level, looks like we've got plenty of room before we even come close to hitting this pivot high, which is only a pivot high, not a fresh supply level. We wouldn't expect prices to stop there. Okay, so having said that, finding some demand below in the dollar, let's now figure out where the euro is likely to turn lower. And for that, we can come down to also, well, a 30-minute chart here. I think there's a couple good areas on this 30-minute chart that we can take advantage of. And again, what we're looking for is the picture that represents institutional supply and demand. Okay, here you go. So I'm going to combine a couple levels here. That's what I did this morning in our supply-demand grid, okay, for our Forex trading room, the XLT. And we're going to go right here. Okay, let me draw these levels in, and then I'll share them with you. And then what we're doing is really stacking high probability events in our favor. We found some potential demand in the dollar. We're finding some potential supply in the euro. And here's that level. Okay, there it is. So it really begins at, call it 131.78. Okay, to about 132.10. Now that's combining two levels. Okay, I'm not saying you should just enter at the beginning of it and put your stop on the other side of it there. Okay. Put the charts up again. You know, you can really make this kind of one level on a larger time frame. It's going to be the same thing. I just wanted to show you, you know, we just took an X-ray snapshot down to the 30 to show you exactly where the level starts. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you can. Okay. Oh, this one perhaps. This morning I actually took. Now I was just trading. I'll show you what I did this morning. If someone's asking about what I would do, I can show you this real quick. This is all from this morning. Whoops. This was just in a little XLT account, so this isn't in a like a regular account. But there you go. Just just in a trading room account. Made a little money on the euro, a little more money on the Japanese yen, and a little money on the Nasdaq. Okay, and I can share with you this trade that we took in the yen. Okay, give me just a moment. Yeah, trader is asking about why that pivot high is not a, you know, what's wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not a fresh level. It's already a pullback into something else. So we would not consider that a fresh level. Remember, a pivot high or low can never be a fresh level. You can certainly get a turn at those prices, and we do, but that's not the fresh supply or demand. Those are all pullbacks into the origin of levels. Okay, all right, let's move on here. So that's the euro, and if you really look at the larger time frame, I'm pretty comfortable with a short in the euro because obviously we've you know been playing for the short side off that larger time frame. But take a look. If we look at the last time price was down in this area, I'm going to put some lines in here and explain this. Here, let me take a picture. Okay. So I just took a picture of the weekly chart. So here's the supply level over on the right that we just fell from. And if you look, if you look at this demand level shaded in yellow, okay, which again is just, that's a pullback, but we've already had one pullback to that and a very deep one just after that. So does that tell us there's still supply left in this area, demand left in this area, or no? I would say there's really not much, right? Any institutional buy orders, significant ones in here, have already been filled. So this move down to the bottom of that level, that tells us that all the significant demand in this area is already absorbed, which means there's room for another leg down past this level. So we would not call that demand anymore. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of little fresh levels on smaller time frames sitting just below, but I'm talking about for the bigger move. Okay? And remember, the one level we've been talking, the nearest fresh supply level in the dollar, remember we mapped that out a few sessions ago. I'm just going to share it with you here, is up here. Okay? Way up there. We don't hit any strong, larger time frame fresh supply until way up here. Okay? Alright. So let's go to, someone was asking about the yen trade that I took. I'll show you here. Okay. Oh, those trades I showed this morning, that was a real account. That was just the trading room, smaller account. So let's see. Here's the yen, and let me share this with you right in here. I'll just draw it out. It was really a tiny little, it only made $400 on it. It was on very small size. It was 2 lot or something. I have to look. But it was just basically shorting against this little thing for a little move. Remember we have those sessions on short-term trading the Forex markets? Okay. There was this right here. Give me just a moment. I'm capturing it for you. And remember in those short-term sessions, we had there's the yen chart. You should be able to see that. Now this is the yen futures. Okay. So just this first rally into there, this actually fell. Didn't make a whole lot of money off of it, but there's a nice little bounce off this level. These types of trades come up every single morning. I have not seen a morning in a long time in the U.S. where, one of these trades isn't right around the corner. That's just taking little bounces off small time frame levels. And that's what we focus on when we do those short-term Forex trading sessions. Okay? That was early. That was about, let's see, I'm looking at the clock at the bottom on the computer clock here. That was about 4 or 5 hours, but this was about 5 hours ago. About 4 or 5 hours ago. Okay, now let me go to the spot yen, and we'll find some trading opportunities there. And a lot of what we're going to look up here is really the reason why I started with the dollars, because we want to base our trades off that chart. Okay. Yeah, FX, you're right. It was pretty close to 1-to-1, and remember, like we say in those, if you go back and reference those short-term trading sessions, often that's the case. Okay, I shouldn't say often, but the chart was offering me about 3-to-1, so I just banked it at 1-to-1. Okay, 1-to-1, 2-to-1. The odds of prices turning. The key though is once you learn to identify where the banks are buying and selling, your winning percentage should go up. It should be pretty strong. Okay, so I know I'm going to have a number of opportunities to take kind of little bounces off those levels. Just small time frame stuff. Okay. Another way to say that, it's very rare that you're not going to get a bounce off one of those levels. Again, you have to pick the levels that meet the criteria. Not every level is going to meet the criteria, right? It's all about those odds enhancers. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the Japanese yen here, and let me capture the chart for you. Always, someone's asking. Let's see. I'm trying to catch. I'm missing a lot of questions. Apologize for that. Maurice, did you match that JY trade with DXY? Yeah, I'll always look at the dollar. Even when I'm making a trade in the S&P or NASDAQ or one of those markets, always referencing the US dollar. All right, let's take a look at the yen, which, similar to the euro, has turned from this kind of ugly larger time frame supply. But, do we have any smaller time frame supply levels above to trade against? And I would say we do. If you go to the smaller time frames, there's some nice smaller time frame levels to short against. But in the larger time frame, I would say the key level is a bit higher. So let me map this out. But actually, let's do this. Let me take a picture of this chart. Luca will take a look shortly. So on this chart, where would you say the supply level is on this chart? there's more than one level, but which one would we, would we feel pretty confident about if we're just sticking to the odds enhancers? Yeah, I agree, Kenny. The 8140. Okay. Okay, let me put some lines around that. Not the perfect level, but this looks good. And now when price comes back to this level, you want to make sure that the dollar is also into some kind of demand with some room above. So there's the yen, potentially selling short at, let's see, 81. Call it 81.38 to 81.40. There would be the entry. Top of the level is 81.51, so we put the stop around 81.54. Okay, not bad. That's pretty low risk, especially for a 60-minute chart. Now, when you say the lower one, L-stock, you talk about the between 81 and 81.20, kind of that pivot high there. Maybe we're talking about a different one. Oh, just below the 1 0. Yeah, I'm gonna go down. I'll go down to a small time frame now, and there might be something right there. Let's take a look. So, I see what you're talking about. Let's go down one more time frame. Okay. So, let me clean this up for you and show you. Let's talk about this little level right here. And let me capture the chart. Okay, so this yellow area that you see, this is that hourly area that I marked off. You're just seeing it on the 15-minute chart. The little circled area below is what L-stock is talking about. Now, I agree with you. It looks like a great level. The less time price spends at the level, the more out of balance supply and demand is at the level. Okay. So the only thing is, though, when you have levels on top of levels, and I agree, structure-wise, this bottom one is certainly better. Okay. We can draw that in. But when you have levels on top of levels, I tend to, go with the level, the distal level, the one just, the upper supply level or the lower demand level. Okay. Yeah, and the thing is, if it goes through this level, it'll be right into the upper level, and you're going to reach that upper level with very few buyers on board because it looks like there's a lot of supply here in L-stock's level. Okay, L-stock. Okay. All right. I think we're done with that one. So I want to take the 8160. Yeah, 8160, you've got a little tiny thing here. You're probably going to see that on a 5-minute chart. 81 to 8110. Yeah, that would just be a pivot high for us, B-tool. Okay, and again, pivot highs are definitely not fresh levels. Okay. And let me just do one thing here. I just put my email address in there just so you have it so I don't forget later. If you have any questions on some of this stuff, you can send me an email. Okay. All right. And I want to do one other thing because I saw a couple questions on this before we move on to another market. Actually, you know what? We'll do that in a little bit. Let me just go on to the pound because we just promised, I think, Luca that we're going to look at the pound. Okay. You should be able to find the old videos on the OTA website and FX Street website. Here is the GBP. Okay. Now again, it's going to be a similar scenario here. And just looking at the larger time frames here. Now, the pound is a little bit different. Pound is actually coming into some levels down here. All right. Be nice if the dollar was pushing just a touch higher. But let's go investigate the dollar a little bit more on a smaller time frame. Give me just a moment here. And just noticing with the pound into some demand. That's telling me to investigate. That's always going to cause me to go investigate the dollar and see what we're really coming into here. So it looks like we have something here. Let me just draw this line in and share it with you. Give me just a moment, and I'll do that. Aha! Dollar absolutely into some supply here. But I had to come down to a 15-minute chart to find it. Okay. So I'm just going to draw this in. And let's take a look. All right, let me take a picture for you here. Sorry about that. All right, can everybody see that little supply level on the 15-minute chart in the dollar? Doesn't look too bad. The fact that you've got this big rally inside of it is not great, but let me get down to a 10-minute chart here. Okay. When you see it on a 10-minute chart, you'll see structure-wise not that great, but you know, we wouldn't expect price to just go right through it. No surprise or hesitating here. Okay. So, and this is subtle, but if you see the level I just drew in on the dollar, this is why the dollar is getting stuck here. This is why the pound is kind of just sitting here. Most of the currency is just sitting around. Okay. But yeah. But do you see how it's subtle? But do you see how price drops, then goes up, and then drops? Okay. That's typically not the best picture of a level. We just want to see it go down, base sideways, and then drop. Okay, this tells me there's probably some supply here, but this is kind of more of a pullback. Does that make sense? So let's go scroll over to the right and say, okay, what does the dollar have below? So now we look and see where this is where we're, kind of just basing out and going sideways. Well, even though the supply is not that great, there's not a whole lot to stop the dollar from falling a little bit here. Okay, it's come a long way. We've reached an area where we have some sellers. All right, I think you get the point. All right. Okay, let's go back to a little bit larger time frames. And let's go back to the pound now. Quick thing. When I went 60-minute chart here, look what's sitting just below. See this? Let me circle it. And I know this. It sounds like we're being very picky and kind of looking at so many things, but here's why the dollar's not falling, not collapsing. Okay, and this is why the pound is not rallying too strong. Yes, we're into some small time frame supply that, as we saw, was kind of ugly supply, and we do have some demand sitting just below. If this was just a straight rally into that supply, you're probably going to fall back at the same rate. But there's a little pocket of demand below, so that would suggest that you should be careful, buying the pound here. But now let's move over and investigate the pound. So hopefully that little kind of side note there was helpful. Okay. The likely scenario is that the dollar, drops down to the demand and then kind of keeps going up through that kind of ugly supply level there. Okay, the pound. So as we see I'm going to come down to a 60-minute chart. That should show it pretty good. On the 240 there in the middle, we see prices right in the middle of those two larger time frame areas of demand. Let's just investigate this on a smaller time frame and see if we can map out an entry point. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw in the two fresh levels above and below, the one fresh level above and one fresh level below. For this, we're not going to take rally-based drop or drop-based rally. I'll be done in just about 15 seconds with this. Not even. Just drawing in the fresh supply above and fresh demand below. I'm going to do it on a 30-minute chart. There's nothing magical about the 30-minute chart. just that the levels are showing up really good there. Okay, there's, whoops. That one. That one. And so I'm down to a fairly small time frame. VTOL, yeah. There's when you say pivot high or rally base drop, no difference there. Just make sure you go down into that pivot and look for a base. Okay. But there's a big difference between the pivot highs and lows and the fresh levels. Okay. So there's the 30-minute chart, and we've got those levels kind of drawn in there. Okay. Those are pictures that help us identify where the banks are buying and selling. If you go down the time frame, there's going to be some other levels in there, but these are ones I would watch for. Could the pound turn at this area? It could, but with the dollar being into not so great supply and having demand just below, I wouldn't be surprised if the pound came down to this 157 mark, before turning higher at this one. Okay. Just kind of putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And that would be our scenario for the pound. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, someone's bringing up, Jason, the head and shoulders. Oh, so you're talking about this kind of big picture there? I guess big head and shoulders. I guess you have that there. Yeah, and what price level are you selling at if you traded that big head and shoulders pattern there? What price level are you selling at? What do you think? Yeah, where though? Where's the neckline coming in? Yeah, about 158? Right. So in other words, don't sell when price is high and into supply. Wait for it to drop all the way down to where the demand is, and then sell it. Right? That's what the head and shoulders has you doing every single time. Right? That's why you never hear us talking about anything written in those trading books. So there goes the pound. Just kind of moved down again. Again, not a surprise there. We didn't expect this to hold. Okay. But yeah, not to poke fun at the trading books too much, but I mean, does the head and shoulders pattern make any sense to anybody? It's a nice pattern to talk about, read about, and look at, but I don't think it has anything to do with making money in the market. But anyway, let's move on. So the dollar's pushing higher as expected, pound moving a bit lower as expected. We'll just leave that alone and let that all play out. I saw a couple of people asking about euro demand, and we focused on the supply side, okay? And we focused on the supply side because we still believe the opportunity is to sell short, and you just come off that larger time frame supply. Here is the euro. And okay, nice job there, Mino. Good job. No, Andrew, remember that's just a pivot low. That's not a fresh level. That's why we identified the level, below that. So we're coming up that supply in the euro. We're still betting on a downside move from there, more downside. But where's the demand in the euro? Well, I'm going to start with the 30-minute chart. And let's see what we can find below. Okay, let's identify let's take a look. I'm trying to read back here. How about pound yen? We could take a look at that. Boyke, so how are all those authors successful? Depends on how you're defining success, Boyke. I'm not sure if you mean writing books or trading or what have you. So if we look at the euro, again, we're sitting right on top of this little demand right here. All stock, I think you'd probably like this one, right? This is a really nice level rally, little bit of basing, strong rally. Okay, so we're sitting there with the dollar on that in that area of demand, with that area of supply just above. We're going to blow the chart up and put a line in as a reference point to go back and investigate. So let's take a look. Okay, and I'm going to go down one more time frame, and we will find, there's actually going to be a really nice level to trade against. Give me just a moment here. I'll have it. Oh, well, it looked better a minute ago. Never mind. You know, I've been struggling to find. I'll tell you, if you're in the mastermind community, you've seen how bearish we've been on the euro, and even in the last two FX Street sessions from that supply level. But I want to make sure you understand, for education purposes, for me, probably what's made me so bearish over the past, few days in the euro is not just that we're into supply. It's very difficult to find any quality demand. Okay. Yesterday morning, early in the morning, I put out the same kind of very strong language note, which is not like me, in the equity index futures, saying, you know what, we are into some ugly supply up here, but there's like no demand. And we ended up falling quite a bit yesterday and this morning. So my kind of education point to you is, don't just focus on the level, but focus on where there's just nothing. I mean, if you're finding supply on top of supply on top of supply just above price, and there's like nothing below, okay. Yeah, there's really not a lot of demand below. I'm going to draw in a very ugly demand level in the euro. I would expect prices to bounce from this level, but I'm not going to go out there and say this is a strong level. Remember, we've been very confident about the euro supply in that daily, weekly, but not a little bit different than this one here. Okay. I'm down to a 15-minute chart, and I'm struggling to find a quality level, but here's one where we'll probably get a bounce. Call it 130.35 to 130.48. Again, that's 130.35 to 130.48. Okay, then I'm going to put a reference point, another reference line down here. I'm going to try to find one more, a little bit lower. And honestly, there's nothing close enough to even talk about. Okay. So, does that mean prices are just going to collapse from here? No, but it means, that makes me feel really good shorting rallies. Okay. James, looks like you're looking at the same level. Jason, first and foremost, I'm answering your question there, your last one in red. It's the pattern, the picture that represents that fresh demand or fresh supply. And just like when I was on the trade desk, where the big stacks of orders are, and other levels where there's smaller stacks of orders. At each one of those levels, there's a supply and demand imbalance, so you're going to get a reaction off that level. But some levels, the reaction is going to be enormous because of the big imbalance. Make sense? So the picture or pattern is first and foremost, and then you just add the odds enhancers on top of that. Okay? Saw a couple of requests for the dollar Canadian. Let's take a look. I have not looked at dollar Canadian in just a bit. On the weekly chart, let's see, I'm just trying to see what people are typing. Okay, looks like people are talking about the euro. Okay, so FX, you're looking at 99.70. Just glancing at it, I like that already. Let me just make this a smaller time frame and see what else, see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks good. In fact, are you in the XLT program, by the way? I'm going to draw some lines in here for you. Okay, well, nice job. For not being in the XLT, you certainly picked a fine level. Excellent. Okay. There we go. So here's that level. Pip chipper, I'm mainly in the trading rooms, the online trading rooms. So that's where you go after you take the course. So there's the demand level below current price, which comes in at 99.70 in the dollar Canadian. We're not near there at the moment, but I would be. This looks like the safe place to buy. That is 99.64 to 99.70, and this is off a 15-minute chart. Now let's make sure on the larger time frames we're okay with that outlook. So on the weekly, let me go to the daily. Yeah, so on the daily, now I'm glad that this is not that close to current price. It's actually not that far, but look where we've come on the daily. So we've rallied. If you look in the lower right corner, take another picture. So we've rallied back up to the area, kind of these prior highs here. But if you look, we've been here. We spent so much time here. This is another kind of good education piece right here. You see how much time price is spent here? I just circled this. Let me see that circled area. I can tell you from my experience, often price has no problem blowing right through a giant area like that on a big time frame. Often price has no problem blowing through an area like that. Now, once you get above there, you're probably going to run into some supply, up in this area right here. But really watch for that deck, because that could lead to some really great opportunities for you and keep you out of some real bad ones. Okay. So let's take a look. So until you get up here, all right. I wouldn't. Could prices fall from here? Sure, they could. But the real supply, I think, is 101. At least that's where the picture of bank supply is. Okay. Yeah, Alstock. So which market are you talking about when you say that? Are you talking about the euro or the stock market? And okay, so that's the Canadian. So that tells me that if we do get a pullback here, that looks okay. Okay, and just keep an eye on the U.S. dollar as well when you're trading any of these markets. Okay. Got it. Okay, yeah, I was just curious. Got it. Gotcha. Okay. So the markets are not moving that much during our session here. Let me kind of go back to the euro here for a moment. And basically, I spent a little time looking before our session today, and came to a very quick and simple conclusion that because of where the dollar is, and looking at the euro, the yen, the pound, and all of them against the dollar, you're probably better off shorting rallies. Okay, at least that's what the charts are telling us. And the more you look at the charts and just do what you see and not what you think, the better, if that makes any sense. Trade what is real, not what you feel. That's a good way to remember it. Yeah. No, definitely. Lots of trading there, Boyke. I'll show you those trades this morning. I don't know if you were in the session yet. There were plenty of opportunities this morning. Okay. Which one there, Andrea? Are you talking about these levels up here in the euro? Yeah, so these would be, the S&P and Aussie certainly have good levels. Okay. It's time to look at the Aussie here. Okay, there we go. So there's the Aussie. Again, we've come into these highs. We've now fallen. So what we want to do, because we've dropped, we want to see, okay, how much room is there for prices to fall? And if there is more room, then we want to find some supply levels to short again. Okay. Not really, Boyke. A little bit. You know, I have something together. I see your last question there, but it'd be tough to give away your entire strategy in a book. Having said that, if you read all the articles, there's probably enough information there for like $3. So let's take a look here at the 60-minute chart of Aussie. Here we go. Let me blow the chart up just a little bit. Okay, so here you can see, let me take one more picture. So here you can see we're coming into this pivot low right here. See that? But again, that's just a pivot low, and when you have a pivot low with a couple fresh levels above, you're probably going lower. That's what we've seen this morning in the pound. That's what we've seen in the stock market the last couple days. So you're comparing this. Take another picture. Now we've got some sell orders above in the yellow shaded box and some buy orders below in the black circle. And the question is, are prices likely to go through the black circle or through the yellow box? In other words, what's stronger, the yellow box or the black circle? I would say that the yellow box. Okay, I would not want to buy. You know, I'd be more comfortable selling against the yellow box than I would be buying against the black circle. And that's probably the simplest way I could put it. Yeah, Maurice, you're kind of right on there. Okay. Yeah, and if you're going to look to buy, you're going to have to look quite a bit lower for Aussie. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see here. There's my email address again. Yeah, so let me share with you. Let's see. Do you have Janeta? Do you have her signals? Sort of. Yeah. I mean, I use them. Okay. It's just a pivot, Gillian. So that's going to be a pullback into another level already. You know, there's a big difference. The biggest thing is what is a fresh level, what is not a fresh level. So you definitely need to know the difference. Looks like the dollar's pushing higher here, hopefully helping that pound come down to that area of demand we've been looking at. With this S&P, just glancing at the S&P here. Okay. And there we go. Yeah, someone's asking about, yeah, I built a little, a signal thing here. I don't ever go over it, you know, in any education stuff. It's just, kind of an automated way for me to do what I do. But no big deal. I mean, you can certainly do it without it. You don't need it. Just putting, you know, automated signals to what we're looking at and learning here. That's all. Okay. Let me just read back here. I'm just reading back. Let's see. Yeah, so once price goes through a pivot, you're probably going to be left with a fresh level. I think that's kind of what you're getting at there. I'm just kind of reading back here. Oh yeah, the signal thing. Yeah, it's I see a couple questions on that. someone asked if I use that, and I do use it for trading. I know I don't sell it. I know there's a lot of signals for sale out there for $5,000, but if they're willing to sell it to you for $5,000, it probably doesn't work, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. If you had an automated system that worked really well, would you sell it to anybody for $5,000? Would you sell it for 10? Would you sell it for 50? Probably not. Make sense? So, I'm just being 100% honest with you. Just be careful. There's a lot of stuff out there, that looks good. Alright. So, but again, just putting automated signals to everything we're learning in here, that's all. Something that everybody can be doing. And, there's quite a few people at Online Trade Academy doing pretty well with this stuff, and as you can see, there's some people in here doing well. So just, if you're new to this, just stick with it. And, Boyke, pivots, remember, pivots are just going to be pullbacks into the origin of fresh levels. That's the only thing I think that you kind of need to get. And we can go over that more in the next session. I can make the next session very, very educational if you want. If you just want to, we can have it a little bit later in the day too, and so we can just make it, just go over rules. I try to always, during these sessions, I try to mix in, let's find some opportunities with some education, but we can really have one of those. So, all right, with that one out, we're out of time. You've got my email address in there. Hopefully that was helpful. And thanks again. And okay, yeah. If you sent an email that I didn't get back to, just resend it. I'm pretty caught up. All right, thanks.